If you ask me if I'm fluent in Spanish, I'll tell you that my Spanish is an itchy phantom limb. It is reaching for words, but only finding air. My Spanish is my third birthday party. Half of it is memory, the other half is the photo on the fridge, is what my family has told me. So I'm at a house party as Pitbull is blaring through these speakers, and one dude decides to announce, yo bro, yo, Spanish music is such shit. So then I said, mírate loco, ¿qué está diciendo de mi gente? ¿Tú crees que no voy a decir nada? Porque los latinos han creído este vecindario. So sal de aquí, pendejo. Hey, asshat. You know Latin music and Spanish music from Spain are two different things. Plus, Latin music being represented by Pitbull is like American music being represented by Kesha. My Spanish is puzzled. Left in the rain, too soggy to make its parts fit together like the picture on the box. My Spanish is possessive adjectives. It is proper nouns dressed in bracelets and pearls. Is it, are you up yet? Is it, there's a lot of work to do today? My Spanish is on my resume as a skill. In his report, The Roots of Assimilation, Dr. Matthew Becker argues that the desire to fit in with the white traditional American culture leaves immigrants to resort to assimilation. While this reality can increase opportunities for minority outsiders, it comes at an obvious cost: losing one's culture and racial identity. Pew Research reports that as of May 2014, 7% of Hispanic Americans, the nation's fastest growing ethnic group, elected to identify themselves as white in the last census. We may forever be fighting tension, but race is an immutable characteristic of many cultures that ought to exist here. So with the poetry My Spanish by Melissa Lozado, Spanishfied by Gina Rodriguez, and Nuyorican by Carlos Ortiz, a program. Because the minority is becoming the majority, and we should not be afraid to show it. Puerto Rican, American, slinging stanzas for change in gentrified hoods, pimped out by proprietors and Whole Foods. Call me Nuyorican. My Spanish is on my toothbrush and red mouth marks. My Spanish is so hungry. My Spanish reaches for words at the top of the bookshelf with no stepping stool and gets hit in the head with words that I've been hiding up there. My Spanish wonders if it's bad to eat something expired. My Spanish wonders if it has an expiration date. My Spanish asks you why it's always being compared to food. Hot, spicy, sizzle. Motherfucker! Do you not know the contribution that Latinos have been making to this economy? You really about to complain about us not knowing your language when half of your country sits atop ours? Thought you could get away with insulting our cultures when you think we're not around? Nah, we are the Spanish-speaking spies. James Bilingual Bond, 007. Latin-connected identities, and Anglo-American camouflage. Call me Nuyorican. Next generation still dying for a cause, and Juan, Miguel, Milagros becomes Sarah, becomes Reynaldo, becomes Timothy, becomes. My Spanish wants to let you know it is not something to be eaten and then shit out, but does not really believe it. My Spanish, if you ask me if I am fluent in Spanish, I'll tell you that my Spanish sits in the corner of the classroom, chews on a pencil, and does not raise its hand. My Spanish is my sister's sore smile at her only beauty pageant. My Spanish is a made-up story about a parent who never came home. When my Puerto Rican mother brought me into this culture that loved so much as they thought, they changed fat connotations to sweetie. Called it gordita and she was beautiful. She was Puerto Rico. The family I had been searching for but could never find. You know, my Puerto Rican blood, its pride and tradition became the identity I could cling to when my biraciality left me hanging America, where his story is bookmarked. So we take a page from our forebearers, fix our mouths in protest, a litany for survival. So praise Lord and the gospel of Luis Reyes Rivera and the ghost that takes space between the sharpened teeth of our oral tradition where our word is bond. For every time they demanded, we speak up, we speak up, we speak up, we spoke out, we raised our fists in effigy shouting, Balante, Balante, my people, reviving the infrastructure of vanguards to hold the weight of our brave new voices. But the shit some people say, when they think certain cultures aren't around them, the Spanish spies are lurking around your kegs at every wager, transcribing all the fucked up shit you say when we think we off duty. Nuh-uh. We will ride here the whole time, motherfucker. You just been Spanish spied. Thought you could poke fun out of the Latino kid that's at your internship when you think he's not around? Nuh-uh. Spanish spied. My Spanish is a made-up story about a parent who never came home but traveled to all these beautiful countries and sent me postcards. My Spanish is me tracing every letter that was able to fit in. My Spanish is true story of my parents' divorce. Broken, chaotic, something I have to choose to remember correctly. I want to climb up on the dwelling tenement sky. Exhale my lungs, clear my thoughts, and then just cry. And then have my ashes scattering the whole boogie down Bronx where I'm from. So let me recite my poem tonight. And let me feel out of sight. And let all eyes be wide open in witnessing what I just said. When they scatter my ashes, my Spanish is asking me if my parents are American yet. If I'm white yet. My Spanish, if you ask me if I'm fluent in Spanish, I'll tell you the story of how my parents met in an ESL class. How they trained their tongues to say, I love you, in a different language, and I hate you with their mouth shut. I'll tell you how my father's accent makes him sound like Zorro. How my mother tried to tie her tongue to an English language post-leash. And how the tongue always ran back stubbornly to the language it had always been in love with. Even when she tried to tame it, it always turned loose.